Meaning now, let's try got it. So anyway, that's when I found out everybody wanted to sleep with me.
I didn't.
Yeah. Hi, Dan. We're live. So I used to talk about irrational self-confidence. Do you remember? That's been my motto for a long time. I don't believe in just self-confidence, but irrational self-confidence.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, and the idea is that you're gonna feel low throughout life. It's gonna happen. I mean, unless you're Dan and you're just high on natural dopamine all the time. But
It's pretty good.
we normies will go through highs and lows. It's cyclical. And so I used to like having irrational self-confidence is like telling yourself like how great you are. And one of the quotes that I used to say when I would like kind of self-talk myself to be positive was that all women and most men want to sleep with me. That was part of my internal monologue. Not that I believed it, but it was just kind of giving that grandiose sense of self-worth to my fragile ego when I needed it.
I'm gonna. I think the phrase I came up with not too long ago is perfect for you. Overtly humble.
Overtly humble. I like that. That's oxymoronic, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm the humblest motherfucker you'll ever meet. Just saying like that right there is like not a humble statement, right?
no,
Right. I'm the humblest person in the world. Everybody wishes they were as humble as me. And modest. Yeah, they struggle. They're jealous. What can I do? So Rebecca sometimes would uh she's fixated on the idea of narcissism. On like and it's a very popular in the the reels and all that crap
yeah,
on the web. Everyone was narcissist, and everybody had a talk. What's it called? Trauma bonds from their toxic exes and all that stuff. And it's kind of like the disease du jour is narcissism. And I could see where like she would point that such as so and so maybe her ex husband had some narcissistic tendencies. But then she would be more concerned with herself. She's like, I think I'm a narcissist. And I'm like, having a sense of self-worth and self-preservation is not narcissism.
yeah.
And
If you're not walking into every thing, into every conversation, and making it about you,
right,
probably all right.
right. And she goes, well, I mean, it's when people are telling their stories, I think of like a story that I have that like totally relates to that situation. I'm like, that's called empathy. uh, which is what narcissists don't have. The difference is now if you manipulate every conversation to make it about you because you have a similar story, then that's a narcissistic tendency. For you to be able to relate to people while they're talking and think like, oh, if I needed to, I could share my version of that story so they would understand that I understand. That's not narcissism. Sociopaths and narcissists never ask themselves whether or not they are those things ever. It would never dawn on them. They would never ask it because it couldn't function in their sense of not only their sense of self-worth, but their self-image that they have with themselves in the world. Like they would never, it would, they never sit there and worry about what other people think about them because they're so busy controlling what everybody thinks about them that it's a non-starter. Narcissists don't go to bed at night wondering how well their narcissism played that day. Narcissists go to bed thinking about how they can continue it tomorrow and how fucking awesome they are.
Yeah, I think mostly just how awesome they are.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm like, so does that mean that? I mean, I said there's degrees of everything. I said, I've got 4 kids, and I could say one or two of them might have some a little hint of the tism, right? They might be somewhere on that spectrum. But that comes from 25 years of my ex-wife working with autistic kids and understanding what all that is. And, now I'm familiar with the parlance and I can recognize some things and be like, oh, there's a little tism going on there. It doesn't mean that they are. But then when you look at social media, like everybody would tell you that they have all their like self-diagnosed autistic children.
Yeah.
Everyone's on the spectrum. I'm like, there's a spectrum for everything, babe. There's a spectrum for everything. I'm a little bit retarded. I'm definitely a lot of bit crass. I don't know if that's a mental disorder, but I just called myself retarded, which isn't even acceptable anymore.
I'm a little
That
bit
I don't
awesome.
understand. If you are retarded, can you call yourself retarded, or are people gonna cancel you for it?
I imagine you probably get canceled for it either way.
Eh,
I feel
I
like I
mean,
saw something about like a comedian talking about something like that the other day.
Shane Gillis, maybe, you know,
Yeah.
comedian, he talks about he, he says that he has Down syndrome in his family. You could tell if you look at him that it just barely missed him. But he talks about his uncle Danny has Downs and how cool he is and how like simple his life is. He likes John Cena and boobs and grilled cheese sandwiches. And he's the happiest dude in the world. Oh, it
Oh,
sounds good. Sounds good to me. I mean, I like John Cena. I like boobs just fine too. Hi. I just thought we just hit it just running full force.
as
Welcome.
you do.
If you're watching, this is Atomic Dork Duo with Sci-Fi Dan and Jeffrey with the G. You know me. This is when two guys, it's usually threesome, but Master Jedi Jeff is not running pivot today, so Dan and I have to make out by ourselves. So, and I mean like make do by ourselves. We're not going to make out directly. So yeah, this couple of 40-something-year-old dudes, and I can say that for another 3 days.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And yeah, we get together to shoot the shit, wax poetic, talk about Star Wars and movies and
Which
trivia.
that part is definitely easier if Jeff Coy is here. Jeff
Yeah,
Adams has lost some of his nerd card over the year. He's
yeah,
still a dork, just not a nerd.
right. That's true. That's true. A part of the Atomic Dork squad. Just yeah, not quite as nerd. Not quite. But you
If
know,
you can't go like this and at least grab a lightsaber,
no.
definitely. Whereas I can grab one, two, three, four, five lightsabers in that range of a span.
Yeah. Currently there is nothing Star Wars on my desk at all.
Of course, you do have Batman nearby, but
No Batman either. There's some in the corner. Some in a box. I put up some stuff away, and I put my Star Wars stuff away. Currently on my desk, I did have a bunch of Star Wars toys here, but currently on my desk, to show you and everybody else. If you see that, that means I have a filter on in the background, and you're not able to see anything. So let me fix that. Hold on. Choose virtual background. Oh, there's a golf guy. None. Here we go. All right, so these are my little golf gnomes. These are Karen, Cairn, hand carved guys. These are collector's items. I got them at a vintage antique store. Uh, I paid about $10 a piece for them. I think they're worth about $11 a piece. So killing it. And then here's a transformer. I don't know even know which one that is. And then you know,
I'd say
something.
that's Starscream, except for the blue
I,
doesn't.
I think it might be Starscream. Let me see. I don't know.
Yeah, that's Starscream.
Yeah. And then this is my favorite toy of the year, and this would be my woke Santa. He's black. He's handicapped, and he's bringing gifts to you and yours. So currently, that's on there. Oh, and I do have this. I picked it up at a. I picked this up. I'm about to grab it for you at a what are those stores? Those bin stores where they have Amazon returns.
Oh yeah,
And I got this for $5. And that is a Optimus Prime Deluxe. This thing weighs like 3 pounds, is a monster when you undo him. Somebody bought it and returned it for a couple bucks. I picked it up. It's kind of fun. So
it's. I mean, unless you got the one that transforms on its own, what's even the point?
what? Why would you do that? those are the ones that do it on their own are like for little kids, man.
No, no, they're the robot one that sits there and goes, and it's pretty amazing. You should look it up.
they have a robot one that you can buy.
Yeah, it
Oh,
does. It's not like full on like there's no AI involved, thankfully.
but still, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Should I blur my background? There's nothing exciting back there.
yeah, that's why I got an X-wing.
Yeah. I think I have a dog somewhere. I think he might be behind me.
I have a dog. You can. I'm surprised you can't hear him. That's actually no, that's Sequoia. Hear her.
There's Snoopy Poopy chilling. So, what's been going on with you, my friend?
Mostly working. I haven't even traveled
What?
in since you and I did. I'm getting the shakes, but I've
Mm.
got my plan. We're going to Everglade, yeah, the Glades National Park.
Everclear National Park?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then we're also going to spend a day snorkeling out at the Florida Keys.
Oh. Down the Florida Keys.
We're going to Key Largo,
There's a place called Kokomo.
which there isn't. So they're lying. The Beach Boys lied to
Where you
us, and we
wanna
believed
go?
them when we were.
There's no Kokomo?
Mm-mm.
Dang it. Key
Even though they start
Largo,
with Key Largo,
Montego.
Montega, or
Yeah. Yeah. Key Largo, Montego. Ooh, I wanna wiggle down in Kokomo. I don't know what it is. But uh dun-dun, dun-dun. Anyways, Cocktail 1988. Great movie.
but let's see. Other than that, my parents, we actually did travel. We went to Texas. We flew out Friday night.
Mhm.
We had my niece graduated from college in 2.5 years with
Wow.
a major, a minor, and some kind of certificate for something. I don't remember what it was.
Hmm.
And
Underachiever.
yeah, summa cum laude.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, she did
Should
that in 2.5 years.
should have tried
And then
harder.
I guess Friday night she's also proposed to by her boyfriend.
Oh yeah, I would totally land that one. Yeah.
And then yeah, so we had the party all day yesterday, and then we flew home yesterday. So it was really weird flying overnight. We had to actually book or check into our next flight on Southwest while we were on our flight, which was
Oh,
weird.
that is weird.
It was a weird feeling. Um, so that's the closest thing to traveling. I would have, if my parents weren't going to be here or so early today, I would have probably stayed through today.
Oh, your parents are in town.
Yeah, they arrived this morning.
You come in for Christmas?
Yeah, realize this is the first time we've actually spent Christmas with them since 2018 was the last time.
Wow.
And the last time they were at our house for Christmas was 2014.
Wow.
So,
Yeah. Let me think. The last time I spent Christmas with my parents was 2003
wow.
before I moved. Yeah. So I'm thinking maybe next year I'll head out and maybe have Christmas with my mom and Jenny and Sean and family. At that point, well, Hannah will be almost 18. The other two are adults. Who knows where they'll be? I don't even know. I don't even know if Lisa will stay in Arizona. She keeps threatening to move to Florida. So, I'm like, yeah, you boo.
We threatened to move to California once my children are done with, once Jake's done with high school.
California or
We
Florida?
actually, was that
California or Florida?
Florida? Did I say
Florida.
California?
You said California.
I meant to say Florida. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
I figured.
um, it's it's up in the air. There's still a couple other places we consider. We'd actually consider like Sevierville up near Knoxville. Um,
Sevierville.
Sevierville, it's Pigeon Forge where Dollywood is.
Mm, okay. Yeah. I would move to California if that's my only option. I don't mind long distance relationships, but I don't want to have it forever. So as youngest child is going to finish her junior year, and then yeah, we're getting close to me not having any specific ties here. But even Hannah said like, I'll move to California with you, Dad.
Mhm.
I'm like, Rebecca, you need to understand that's love. Like, I'm, mm, look at the flag behind me. I'm just saying, I'm willing to move to California. That must be something.
Yeah.
And being a native is
Instantly
definitely
lose
something.
20% of your income
Right, right. Yes.
just in gasoline.
Oh, I know. It's crazy. Absolutely. But yeah. Breaking, Democrat senator releases statement on staffer who filmed the gay sex. Oh, what is that? Do you hear about that?
No.
Yeah, Democratic Senator Ben Cardin has just released a statement on the staffer who filmed himself having gay sex in the Senate hearing room. The
That's
staffer
why
was,
it's newsworthy.
yeah, the staffer was identified yesterday as Adrian Massey Chirovsky. Yeah, gotta love that. Now, how did that get out onto the interwebs if it wasn't on like a gay porn site? Uh,
Yeah.
or maybe,
Well,
maybe,
they clearly wanted to brag about it.
right, right. Yeah, and the guy apparently who was receiving the love was upset at his lover for filming it without his knowledge and putting it out on the interweb. So, oh, it is us. Aiden Massey Sharovsky is no longer employed by the U.S. Senate. We will have no further comment on this personnel matter. Yeah, it's a personnel matter. You gotta love that. So, exciting things happening in lawmaking.
Something like that.
Yeah. Harvard backpedals on pronouns. Have you heard about that?
No.
So it says Harvard University appears to be backpedaling on pronouns, according to reports. They've completely deleted a page called Gender Identity and Pronouns from their website. If you click on the page, in a Google search, it redirects you to their DEI page. What does that mean? Chaya Reichik tweeted Harvard deleted their webpage on pronouns. They're frantically removing dozens of pages from their site. They can erase this page, but it won't erase the ugly comments that their president said about calls for Jewish genocide before Congress.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
okay.
know, what's
Oh,
interesting about that is only that on the one sense they were right that just the words are technically, unless you're calling people to action, but the thing is you also then have to make sure you say that about all people,
mm,
like anyone that's calling someone hatred, calling hatred stuff towards people is
right,
technically protected, but you got to protect it for everybody or
right,
nobody.
right. Exactly, exactly. When all the noise came out after October 7th happened, and certain factions of young wannabe communist children, the naive and the dumb,
Right.
started chirping about down with Israel and all that mess, and from the river to the sea and all the other stuff they were saying.
Yeah.
Um, like my feeling about it was like, oh well, that seems that seems like a harsh stance, like kill all the Jews, like seems like a bad thing to say. But immediately I thought, like, I don't agree with it, but I thought, well, yeah, that's called First Amendment. You're allowed to say crazy and insane things. You're allowed to lie. You can tell lies. You can like the what people seem to forget is there are laws already to protect acts of violence. There are laws with for libel and slander. There are already laws that are meant to take over when somebody not just skirts the edge, but steps over the edge
Yeah.
of what is considered reasonable um, for all the laws of our country. So it's uh, yeah, is it distasteful? Sure. Would you want to kick out non-American people here on work visas who don't have the best interests of your country at heart? I could see that. That seems absolutely fair.
Yeah, I'd say that they're
You're on
not
a
technically
visa.
protected by the Constitution.
Right, you're right. You have your human rights, but yeah, yeah, now you're subverting the US Constitution. You're not, there's certain rights that they have general protection for, but that could be an issue. Like you need to protect your citizens. Your obligation is there to have a bunch of people here with permission who want to destroy your country. Well, that seems like a reasonable thing to kick them out. That's fine. And because you're going to have to contend with people who are citizens who have the right to hate their country if that's what they so choose. They have the right to hate Jewish people. They have the right to hate black people. They have a right to be ugly, disgusting human beings. I don't understand where all of a sudden, because things seem dramatic, that we want to shut down that speech. Like,
Well,
no,
in
the
the
worst thing you can possibly do. You want to know where the crazies are.
well,
Let
and
them.
yeah, and the job of comedians
Mhm.
basically is to make fun of that, and
Right.
it pushes that kind of thought out into the background. But
Yeah.
we've for 20 years protected the craziness
Right.
under this, they're just this way, and not made fun of them. And now they've get gathered in numbers. But yeah, it used to be that society shunned those people and pushed them into the corners. That's why there wasn't, huge KKK factions and huge different, the people who were racist got pushed to the outskirts of society.
Right. Right. When you force when you force them to go underground, then that's when things get dangerous. You don't want to force those groups underground. You want to keep them out on the peripheral of society so you can keep an eye on them.
Right.
They become dangerous when they're getting pushed.
Yeah. If you laugh at you laugh at them rather than make them think that they're serious.
Mm,
It's like you're absurd, and so I'm not even going to give you the time of day. And
right,
then they're like, oh, but, and they have no platform at that point. But
right,
as soon as you either make them a targeted enemy, oh, we're going to take care of those people. Well, now automatically the brain goes, well, people's brains defend something,
hmm,
because it's being attacked. So
right.
there's so many. Yeah, we should go back to just making fun of them. And
Yeah, mock them until they get tired.
yep.
When my children were young and they went through a phase, very short-lived phase of screaming and throwing a tantrum about something. They were like a year old, year and a half, something like that. And I realized, like, well, that's unacceptable behavior to me. I don't give a shit how unhappy you are. Screaming bloody murder with your eyes closed at me is not acceptable. Let me teach you about the concept of reciprocity. You're going to act that way. We'll see what happens to you. Like, that's not how we behave. I don't give a shit how you feel. We can express ourselves constructively, and we can be absurd at points, but that not acceptable to me. I also expected my children to behave in public, and I expected them to be on best behavior if we were in a restaurant or visiting someplace. Certain things that were allowed inside in my house were not allowed out in public, and they could understand the difference. You are going to be on your best behavior because that's the expectation of you. But in order to stop my kids from doing that, we just mocked them. So, I mean, I remember driving across the desert from Tucson to San Diego, and all three kids, and Haley's maybe a year and a half, maybe 2 years old. She was mad about something. You could tell she got mad. Man, she was not. And then she started crying, and we're like, Lisa and I are looking at her, and she's like, "Ah," or like, shut up. And she's like, "Ah," and just like escalating. So we just started screaming back at her, but we literally just mocked her. So we both started going, "Ah, ah," and we just matched her and then increased the volume and then made it as absurd as possible. And then I rolled the windows down on the minivan as we're doing 75 through the desert. So now it's like loud wind buffeting. We're all screaming along with her. And then she's like, stop. And then we just ratcheted it up a notch and we just beat her on the extreme of that behavior. And then she finally just stopped and she's like, oh. And then we're like, windows up. We're like, are you done? Good. Don't do that again. And then we started laughing. We're like, I think, are we horrible? Are we horrible parents? We might be horrible parents. And I'm like, no, no. Like, here's the thing: is like, we had a couple of options, few options. We can ignore it and hope it goes away at some point. We can cater to it and be like, oh, baby, why are you acting insane? Or we could pull the car over and beat her. Corporal punishment was still illegal in Arizona. I could whoop her ass, even though she's 2. I can spank her and then scare it out of her. Or we went with that option, which was we're gonna mock her until she doesn't feel like she wants to do anymore. She's gonna be so mad at the mockery of what she's doing that it's gonna take the energy away from it. And it did. And then she never threw a fit again. That was it. Because she didn't want to get mocked. And I believe that's that's related to kind of like what you're saying is you have these absurd actors out there, and the idea of parody and comedic expression, like you want people to take those extremes and then bring light to it and then make fun of it,
Yep.
then point out how ridiculous it is, because then it takes the energy away that it would have otherwise. It's like, you know, I don't know, squirting hot water at a snowball before it's formed, like it's over. Like doesn't get the energy that it wants to have otherwise. I don't know if that made sense, but
No, I that's exactly that is exactly the same.
seemed to click for me. Like, which way do you want to go? You're gonna have to
You deal with it as a society. It's the only way you can do it. You can't even uh what do you call it? You can't even make laws for it. That doesn't get rid of it.
right,
It it is shame is basically shame that that's the viewpoint I have that gets rid of it.
right. So there's a human there's a human trait that we want to belong. It's an intrinsic part of human nature. Because humans want to belong to something, right? They need to belong. And there's this absolute fear of being ostracized from the group and not having a group to belong to. Um, I mean, when you look back at all the atrocities that have happened under communism, and you can say, well, how is it that, millions of people all thought that this was acceptable behavior and they were happy to drop the pellets on the gas chamber for other groups of people and think, well, I was just doing my job. Well, because the fear of not belonging is so intense, they will absolutely sacrifice somebody else in order to be on the right side of, the group.
Yeah.
You see, that's exactly what happened during the lockdowns. That's exactly what happened when it came
Oh yeah.
to pro shots and anti shots. It would people get in line. People who don't get in line should all die. People have an opinion outside of the group norm. Like there's just this human nature. I mean, you realize in a second that the polarization that happened so fast in this country was like people don't even realize that their human nature is so strong.
Yeah.
They just it's instinct, and they immediately were like, oh my
Well, and
gosh.
it's also you put fear into the mix
Hmm.
and it's just yeah, that's fear, Yoda is correct. Fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, and you got that fight or flight, and hate leads to suffering. But fight or flight, people were living in constant fight or flight, and then someone gave them a chance to basically fly away from that fear by offering masks at first and then
Right,
vaccines, and you were you know obviously wanting to harm humanity if you didn't think that those things were working, or
right,
so.
right. And when I think More people than not these days understand that they were just a part of the largest social experiment since I don't know, since what? Since commercialism, basically.
Yeah,
I mean, since, and people don't even understand that they have been that same psychological manipulation was done on us to make us into consumers. Is how do you keep people from paying attention to what's going on above them? Well, make sure that you give them a reason to focus on the garbage that's going on around them. And it's scary. It's scary to me I'm curious and I get curious and nervous when I see things coming out in the news and you could tell that like you you get the impression that they're trying again to see if they can get people to be afraid of things. They're like, hey, this new China thing, this time it's affecting children because they know if they come out and try and say that there's something wrong that's going to affect adults, no one's going to believe them.
yeah.
Now they're trying children, but the thing is like they
Or
didn't
dogs. There's the new dog one.
they didn't sell enough shots for adults, so they started to mandate it to children who never needed them, and it just harmed them. I'm not sure if people are going to fall for that again. I think maybe 25% might fall for it, but I have a feeling that it's going to be 75% of the majority going to be like, nope, nope, we don't believe you. It makes me nervous for the next year because those in power stand to lose everything. To what degree they will go to try and keep that power. So we shall see. I feel like from a culture war standpoint, I feel like we are making progress. And by we, I say that not the conservatives specifically, but the independent,
Sane.
sane and self thinkers.
I mean, the fact
Regardless,
that we're seeing people like Bill Maher stand up on the right side of a lot of these issues.
right, right. And what's amazing, Joe Rogan, same thing. Joe
Yeah.
Rogan's a flaming
Flaming liberals.
liberal his whole life. He's like, I didn't change my perspective. They just moved they moved the bar underneath me. Because for some reason they've decided that woke, which is like 10% of the population, is the center of left, and anything to the right of woke is right wing alt right. And you're like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, that far left feeds on its own. You look at the author of Harry Potter,
Yeah,
who was deliberately, made Dumbledore gay, even though it's not in the books. It's not never explicitly stated until the new movies. Um, and she was beloved by everyone because, oh, how brave. And now because she stood up for being what a woman is,
right. Yeah,
she's now hated by those same people.
right, right.
I mean, it's really, it's the Sith. The Sith, when there was thousands of Sith, the reason why they came up with why Bane came up with the rule of two is because the Sith naturally eat each other. They destroy. They have to destroy the person above them so that they can take their spot. So it's
Right.
all there. Bane went, this is too destructive. There can never be more than two: a master to encompass the power and an apprentice to desire the power. And so eventually the apprentice kills the master, is the one that has the power, and brings on their own apprentice. So it's always, that's why, yeah, it's,
Look at that. You brought Star Wars into it.
I always say everything I learned from life, I learned from watching Star Wars or reading Star Wars in this
You're
case.
not wrong. People don't realize that your government is the evil empire. So you can easily go back into the Star Wars stories, and you could say that Luke was a part of an alt-right uh group who was against the government, who was pro people. And you can rewire those stories easily to just reflect exactly what's going on with us.
Well, and the prequels is really where we're at. We're watching the fall of a republic.
Yeah.
Luke is, that's further down the road. Luke is that's once the empire is in place. We're not, the empire is not in place yet. We're still a struggling republic at this point.
No. And you know what's funny is, I mean, I don't know, funny or interesting rather, is that the hero's journey and the the plight of people in power, these stories have repeated over and over and over again throughout humanity. So George Lucas taking something that's a common trope, it's he didn't create this. It's happened
Yeah,
over and over and over and over again. And when you read, what was it, Lord Byron, who said, was it power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
yeah,
You look back historically at the philosophers who really called the the struggles of their time for what they were. It's just those things just repeat. It's human nature to go through this. And yeah, we're not special because of it. But that also, if you keep in mind, we grew up with understanding that those who do not understand history are doomed to repeat it. So you wonder why they started wiping all the history out of schools. It's because they want to be able to repeat it. So
yep,
instead of teaching you the cautionary tales, they try and retool everything to validate the direction that those in power are pushing. They're like, well, colonialism is bad. Imperialism is bad. Like, let's retool this also as evil. So the direction we're going, people will get behind it. I mean, No Child Left Behind. I mean, it's wild if you go back and look at the history of each time something was enacted that was just specifically to dumb down the generations as we continue to go.
yeah.
Um, it's wild. It's absolutely wild. But hey, whatever.
It's
Whew.
there's that other was it I can't remember how it goes, like strong men make good times, good men or good times make weak men make bad times.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Oh, let's see. What else is going on in the news? Gee, why did the press leave this detail out of the new Russia collusion headlines? Yeah, I thought that it's over by now. So, what do you think of Congress voting to officially do an inquiry into potential impeachment? Did you heard about that last week?
Yeah, I know that they were, it's been like there were a couple, yeah, it was a few weeks ago. I feel like they first put the little inquiry out, and then it was like the pre-inquiry or something like
You're
inquiry.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the way the press is already like defending Hunter Biden, the way they're presenting, they're like whatever Hunter Biden says in the stand, that's what they're like. Hey, he told us he's not a part, that the president's not a part of his dealings.
Right.
So it must be true.
It
the
must
pre-
be.
the press is really doing their job well. That's
Oh, they're
my
all bought,
favorite one. Was there
all
was
bought and
a
paid for.
there was a um I guess it was a Fox News person. She's walking with one of the senators or whatever, and asking them if they were going to open, uh, request the flight logs of Jeffrey Epstein. And he's like, "Oh, this is the first time hearing about it."
What?
And it's like, well, Marsha Blackburn's been, requesting it for a while, and she's on your. Like, you have no this first. Thanks for bringing to my attention. She goes, "Oh, so you're gonna, uh, so you're in favor of getting those logs pulled?" And he just lets the elevator doors close on him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Well, it's a danger when the you find out how the sausage is made. You know,
Yeah,
people aren't going to want to buy the sausage anymore. And if you understand that they're historically, and this is not just through now, like through since time immemorial, Politicians and wealthy people have gone out of their ways to compromise those in public power with public or positions of power in order to control them and control the narrative. So for some reason, finding out that all these people have were potentially compromised and done so probably with the support of, they say the Israeli government supported Epstein, and that they were the ones who were wanting to compromise all the wealthy and the powerful so they can control them, a la J. Edgar Hoover did, which is what kept him in power for 60 years. Have blackmail on everybody. So yeah, let's have an island. Let's have this wealthy guy. We'll give him a bunch of money. We'll have him fly out the rich and the powerful. We'll get him in compromising positions with youths, and then we can control them whenever we need to. We want you to vote this way. We want you to vote that way. We want you to make a movie about this. We want you to do that. They act like this is some sort of a new thing, but again, it's like inside baseball or how the sausage is made. Like let it be seen. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I'm fine with it taking down whoever it needs to take down.
take them all down. I don't care,
It
right, left, all take them all down.
yeah.
And if they were able to be compromised by being child rapists, then they should all go to prison. 100%. If not, well, prison will handle them. Prison has at least has the right politics about sex offenders and child rapists. They take care of that.
Yeah.
The fact that there's a code of ethics and in prison that those people get nothing but the boot heel is interesting when outside in society they want to be apologists and make excuses for that sort of thing. Weird. If you think about, prison is literally a cross section of the base instinct of a society. It's a microcosm of really what your society, how your society would manage itself. That's got to be scary for those folks because they realize, like, yeah, no, we're just assuming you be murdered in your sleep for doing those sort of things.
Yeah.
That's not acceptable at all. It's bad. And if you're weak enough to be compromised and you take 27 trips to the island to do bad things with young people, then you should face the consequences of such behavior. And if you're on a flight log because you got out there and you found out what they were trying to do and you said, "Oh no, 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 I'm not going to say anything, but I need to get out," you might have a chance to survive. You should have said something, but I mean, I'll at least give credit to those who didn't partake you know so why is it that a bunch of movie stars immediately start trying to sue everybody who mentions that they were on that flight log, whether it be Tom Hanks or Jim Carrey or any of those folks? Like, if you didn't do anything wrong, then don't worry about it, you're fine. Come out and take
Yeah.
a you made your
Come out
100.
and take a stand and say, I want those flight logs
Yeah,
released to show that I'm not on them.
right. Or be like, hey, I got flown out there. When I found out what was going on, I was like, nope, absolutely not. And here's what everybody else did, by the way. Okay, stand up for yourself. Stand up for
Well,
somebody.
that's, I mean, saying something like that is basically, a death sentence.
It is a death sentence. Yeah, yeah. So they're just keeping their. Can you imagine being embroiled in that sort of thing and you're just trying to sleep at night and you're like, oh gosh, I was hoping this would never come out. Like, I'm dead. I was complicit. You know, I can't imagine being complicit at that level of something so heinous
Mm-mm.
and just being like, oh, I didn't know. Money and fame brings crazy ideas. And you're like, well, maybe you should pay the piper. I think you should. Um, Here's a thought. I want your take on this thought. Um, UFOs and aliens are um demons and fallen angels and all of this stuff, if we came to find out what the truth was, it's just been a spiritual battle with heaven and earth. Um, and that grays and all that stuff are literally the demons that we
I
have read
mean,
about in the Bible. What do you think?
it's at least that part of it is totally possible. The UFOs, pretty sure every single one of those is fake. I've watched a Corridor Crew, and they've done now 3 videos of basically debunking most of the videos,
Mm,
and they're right about all. It's like, some of them it's just it's easy to figure out it's a lens flare. They're like, this camera. There's one where it's like it's a light flying against the ocean. It looks like it's going really fast, but what's going really fast is the airplane.
mm.
So the airplane's flying and looking down, and it's got a lens flare that's making this little dot that makes that little dot look like it. And it's like, and they show an example of it. They basically create an example of it, and you're like, oh yeah.
I've seen some of those from those guys. I've seen them like be able to debunk that stuff pretty easily and be like,
My
here,
favorite one, and they're it's funny, and I imagine we're going to stop seeing this happen, is the people who manage to track things at these things that are suddenly moving this direction, and they're tracking with it
right.
as it starts moving that direction. It's like, yeah, it's gonna go off of that, and then you're gonna
It's gone.
be
Yeah.
looking for it. Yeah.
Right. You're not going to lead it. You're not leading something that's going Mach 400.
My favorite one though is the one that was getting the most play on oh on the all the feeds and everything. Turned out to be created by them. They
It
did the
would be,
best job. So one of the guys
oh,
in
they
the
made
Corridor
one.
Crew, yeah, one of the
Okay.
guys in Corridor Crew made one and posted it to what do you call it? Uh Reddit. They posted it to Reddit, and it was starting to get placed everywhere. And they put it in front of the guys, and they're like, "Yeah, it's actually pretty good." And then they went. Then there was one little mistake. They're like, there it is. There's the CGI mistake." And it was, but so even with one that was done well, so
Interesting. Interesting.
they were.
Tucker Carlson said something about this. This is why it kind of stuck out to me recently because um, I don't hear anyone think that Tucker Carlson has some sort of a nefarious agenda for the things that he says that may or may not be true. But he was quoted in an interview recently, and he said that he has interviewed and talked to people who know more about this alien stuff than anybody. And the things that they told him, he said they were so potentially unsettling that like he's never even told his wife what it may be, and he was referring to uh biblical proportions of like what's going on. It's not parallel universe, it's not uh extra terrestrial, it's
Oh no, that wasn't Tucker. That was oh, the guy used to be on CNN, the Mormon one. What's his name?
the Mormon.
Yeah,
What's
the
he?
Mormon conservative talk show hosts.
I don't know. The one I was talking about was Tucker. I listened to him, but
Glenn Beck.
yeah, Glenn also. Yep, I heard it from Glenn also. Yep, I like Glenn Beck.
I didn't even know he was still doing anything till recently, and I saw him talking about uh basically that thing.
The Blaze is huge. It's been going strong since he split 20 years ago. I remember when he split, but yeah, it's going strong. He's not my go-to. My current go-to is actually somebody I didn't expect to align with so much is a Tim Cast IRL. Tim Pool. He wears a beanie like this, so I wasn't trying to emulate him. Well, maybe I was. He's a skater. Dropped out of high school his freshman year when he realized how stupid everything was that was being taught. Um, During like Occupy Wall Street, he would live stream from it quite a bit, and he's technically he's not progressive at all, but he wouldn't be considered Republican, but now he's considered to be alt-right because he speaks out against the garbage and calls out the garbage for what it is. And well, I'll send you a couple of blurbs here and there. He's actually quite refreshing. I get a lot of my news from him. It used to be Joe Rogan, but Tim actually does news like, hey, here's five or six things going on right now, and here's my take on it. His big push, and he's in West Virginia. I think he's originally from Chicago, and then was working in New Jersey, and then put his headquarters in West Virginia because it's a more conservative, less woke place. And but his take is that we're winning the culture war back inch by inch, and that's really what it is. It's about the war on culture, and it's about taking back that which is intrinsically American. So, no, little shout out, Tim Pool, Timcast, IRL. Check them out. YouTube, Spotify, all those places. But always has a good perspective, and it's fascinating because he'll get a bunch of lefty people on there, uh, and they're all like, "Yeah, we would vote for Trump over Biden, absolutely." You know, like these are people who never voted conservatively before, and they're like, you just watch what's happening and watch what the country is trying to do to this guy. You realize like he's either all evil or they are, and they're trying uh, to cover up that the truth that's been told over and over again. And yeah, I find that interesting.
Yeah.
Truth. Just looking for some truth. What's going on movie wise? Let's probably coming up on bedtime here for you. So let's
Yeah. Um,
what have you seen? What have you done? What's coming up Star Wars wise?
Star Wars wise, I believe the next thing is going to be Bad Batch season 3.
Okay.
Looking forward to that. What's great about watching the Bad Batch is it's the first series now that we're looking at beginnings of the Empire and
Okay.
how they were really establishing power once they took power.
Got you.
Um,
So a cautionary tale.
I mean, yeah, I mean, if the prequels didn't get you, Bad Batch should.
Right.
The last movie I saw, I went and saw The Shift,
Okay.
which
Yeah.
is a faith-based made film with a sci-fi. It's a sci-fi film with a faith story. I mean, um, overall, a good. It was a little heavy-handed with the faith messages.
Mhm.
It didn't have to be. I think if they had left it subtle, it would have been a great movie.
Gotcha.
And the two things that kept it from being great were it was too heavy-handed at times. When it wasn't heavy-handed, I was really into it, and I think it was.
What's the premise of the story?
So basically, a guy is in a car accident, and he's pulled into this basically alternate reality where this person basically says, "Hey, I'm gonna." He chooses who lives in each of these realities or whatever, and he's
Okay.
going to put this guy in place of and do the job for him. And this guy refuses, and basically starts praying. And the guy's called the benefactor. That's right. So the benefactor is trying to get him to join him, and I guess other versions of him from other realities have already done this job, but this one version of him refuses and
He wants
starts
him to become death.
basically, yeah, wants
Yeah.
him to become death,
Yeah.
and he refuses and starts praying, and it causes the benefactor to disappear. And so then, for a lot of the film at this point, he's trying to get back to his wife in that reality, and but he ends up living in this really bad reality that the benefactor has created,
Okay.
and so it's kind of a Star Wars esque, living under tyranny kind of thing.
Okay.
Um, and so that part of the movie is great. I mean, that whole even the praying stuff, like him, that would have just have he didn't. That's all you had to do is just have him praying. He didn't.
Right.
But there was it gets into later on. It gets into uh some other stuff. And but the only other part of it that I didn't enjoy was the love story where they were setting up the love story between him and his wife. I don't either she wasn't a very good actress or they had no chemistry on screen.
Mm,
I never believed them as falling in love.
right.
And so that was the only other thing in the movie that but the rest of the movie was actually really good, especially for being Angel Films, who I wouldn't normally say make good movies. They make, Christian propaganda films mostly. Um, but
Yeah.
it was a good movie.
I always love your perspective on Christian propaganda stuff coming from a Christian. It makes me happy. Because I'm not one can't be more Christian than the other, but maybe practicing longer and trying to be a little more true to it. So even though not even though I am Christian, I consider myself Christian light next to you, because you do your best to live that way also, where I'm really what Christianity was made for. I'm the constant sinner, the obvious sins,
It's well,
who's always trying to come to
being
terms with
aware
it.
of your need for redemption is the prime aspect of being a Christian.
Right, absolutely. Yeah.
You're just closer to realizing how much you need redemption.
Right.
I know that, but honestly, that was in my 30s. The church we were going to, the pastor was very open about his struggles and stuff, and it made me. There was one time he was preaching. He was actually preaching in the book of Daniel, and I kind of went into this contemplative mode because my name is Daniel,
Right, of
and
course.
thinking
You're
about
like, oh,
the
here's my book, let's do it.
and well, what I started thinking about was the meaning of my name being God is my judge,
Mhm.
and I started thinking about God is my judge and I'm guilty, but then the judge, rather than punish me, took my punishment. And I was
Mm,
like, okay, that's heavy. And it also changed my perspective of people who struggle and seem like they're I can forgive other people's issues because I
right,
know I have my own issues.
right.
And
That's awesome.
so
So it actually
yeah,
it made you a better Christian.
maybe better and better person. I mean, all
Yeah, just
around.
a better
Yeah.
person in general, right? A better person,
Yeah.
right?
But
Yeah.
I mean, I became far less judgmental. I went through my 20s. I would got into a fairly judgmental with other, especially with other Christians, not with people who weren't Christians. It was really the Christians I was judgy of.
Right. No, yeah,
uh,
that's so common though. It's very common. But you can also the tough part is being around holier than thou folks and not seeing the veneer is has worn off and that yeah, I mean uh, the Bible doesn't say judge not. It says be careful how you judge.
you'll be judged the way you
You'll be
judge
judged the way
others.
you judge other people. Remove the plank from your eye before, or but plank from your eye before you worry about the splinter in your brother's eye. Just meaning like, yeah, just use caution. It'll come back at you the same way. It's not that you're not allowed to judge. You can judge, but then you get around people who try and out Bible verse you, out
Oh
chapter and
yeah.
verse you. I can't stand those people. I really can't. I can't stand those who are like, well, blah 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 chapter and verse da, 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 da. I'm like, shut up, like that's not your personality. Like if you have a lesson to share, that's great, but you're not a better person because you memorized the Bible verse of the day, toilet paper. It makes you an asshole who goes to church, and there are plenty of assholes who go to church. So I went to
Indeed.
church today. I've been going to church consistently since I went to California. I went to my mom's church, and yeah, and it's making me a better person for it. I got a good pastor who who's human, and I like that.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't like the inhuman pastors.
yeah, I don't at all. And but he's got a really good perspective of we're all trying to be better people, and there's nothing wrong with trying to be better. You don't have to be the best, just try. Try is important. Um, Did you ever see the Jesus Revolution?
No, with Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah.
No, I went to some of those churches though in college.
I go to Calvary Chapel here in Tucson. And that's where
Actually, I
Calvary
take that back. I actually went to his church.
in Costa Mesa.
Yeah, I went to it. Only went to it twice when I was at Cal State Fullerton.
Yeah, yeah. So one of the musicians, his name is hold on. Hold on. He was at our church today. He was he was played by somebody like he was one of the oh, I forget his name off the top of my head. Um Derek? No. Garrick, David, Gerard, something Gerard. What's his name? Anyways, one of the guys who was in that he was one of the hippie band members who um was part of that church and part of the whole Jesus freak hippie thing. He's 80 years old and he came and sang one of his songs. Chuck Gerard, that's his name. Chuck and his daughter were at the church today, and she sang a song that she wrote, and she's a Christian. What do they call it? Apologist.
Apologist, yeah.
And then, yeah, he's this 80-year-old ex hippie who was in the right place at the right time, and he came and he sang this song called "Sometimes Hallelujah," which was a big chart topper in the 70s and 80s and 90s.
I remember that song, yeah.
He was the founder. I mean, he was basically part of the Christian rock. You know, he was part of that group that's really started that Christian rock movement. So he sang sometimes Hallelujah today, which was really nice. It was cool to be able to see that. We get some speakers and some people who come and uh really have a lot of impact. I've been enjoying that. It's a better part of it's a good part of my week and it's a better part of my life to stay involved and engaged with that. It keeps me grounded. So I've
Very
been
cool.
I've been enjoying that resurgence of my faith. And even I got Hannah, my little Wiccan, weirdo, lefty weirdo. She's been going every week, and now that she's working with the kindergartners, and so she does like one week she's in Sunday school, and then another week she has to go to service, and then she's allowed to go every other week because they don't want them to stop going to service. So I got her to go interview for Sunday school because she wanted to work with the kids. And I told her, I said, hey, do me a favor, just to make your life easier. Did I bring up the fact that I told her not to say that she was trans? Don't say you're trans. Like, there's no reason to tell people this. You don't need to make them nervous about anything. People don't understand it, and they're going to make assumptions. Well, she's interviewing, and they're like, yeah, you'd be great. We'd love to have you. Why, by the way, why do you go by Hayden? And she goes, I'm trans. And they said, oh, okay. Well, in that case, the director is going to need to work with you one on one, and so they can, understand you a little bit better and be more comfortable with you. Well, she starts crying and gets really upset because they said like there's going to be an extra step, and I was like, I don't know why you have to complicate things, child. You're like you're a strange Republican conservative trans kid who thinks pronouns are stupid, and you make fun of the same people I do. But for some reason, you're still married to this identity concept, even though you're dressed like a girl, you act like a girl. Like, I don't understand it. I was just like, leave complicated things out. It's like just saying, like, hi, why do you go by Hayden? You go like, I'm schizophrenic. And they're like, well, we're not going to trust you with children. That seems bad. We have to make sure you're not going to throw shit at the kids. So child wanted to drop out, and I said, no, you're going to go and you're going to be observed, and you're going to show them that you're just a kid. You're a good teenager and you have a good heart and you're good with children and you don't have any sort of nefarious um, intent because you don't. So this was last week. She comes to get in the truck and she's dressed like a skater. So I said, hey, do me a favor. Can you go fem it up a little bit for me? It's going to be your first day with the preschoolers here, the kindergartners or whatever. And the director is going to meet you for the first time. Why don't we give them the opposite impression of what they're going to walk into? So she's like, okay. So she goes finds her strawberry shortcake pants. There's big pink with strawberries on them. She's got like a cardigan, like a white lace cardigan, and she said she couldn't find a cool shirt that wasn't like showing her midriff. So she found this t-shirt that I bought uh from Sunday Cool Tees that said Satan get thee behind me. And she wore that. And I was like, dude, go get my cross necklace from next to the bed and you're good to go. So she's got Satan get thee behind me, all feminine and cute with diamond earrings and her cross. And I was like, this is literally equally as much your identity as anything else that you think is your identity. And she's like, oh, that's a good point. Well, do you feel uncomfortable? She's like, no, that's kind of cool, actually. I said, there you go. Go do your thing. And everything went swimmingly well. And she was a little bit surprised. And I said, look, it's a Christian organization. They have every right to be concerned, but they just wanted to get to know you a little bit better because they have a responsibility toward other people's children to make sure they're not putting them in harm's way. The reason I tell you not to say everything, all your inside thoughts or, your, the quiet things out loud is because, you don't need to freak people out. It's not necessary. Nobody goes like, hey, why do you go by Geo instead of Jeffrey? And I'd be like, well, I don't, but let's just say, I'd be like, well, I like to tie my girlfriend up with ropes and spank her. May or may not be true. It's true. But I pointed to my tassel rope hanging from my rearview mirror. But but I said, do you get it, child? Where like saying something like that, like that's nobody's business. It's do you get like how did that doesn't help me in life for me to be like, hi, what do you do? Well, I mean, sexually, nobody wants to know that. Politically, I don't know. Nobody, no, just I like to golf and I like to podcast and I like to post golf videos and talk to my friends and hang out with my kids. Like, that's all the stuff that's important, not the 1/10 of 1%. So hopefully getting her to think outside of that need that she has to identify to something unusual. But
Yeah.
I understand the attraction to it.
Yeah. I mean,
It doesn't have to be you, all of you,
yeah,
you know. I mean, we know that you like to act like Jim Carrey when you're making out with your wife. I get it.
I'm guilty
You
as charged.
don't have to show everybody, you know. Come to me, my jungle friends. Oh, he takes his shirt off. See, guys, you don't need to picture Dan doing that. That's his own private business.
True. So
Uh,
speaking of that, are you at your 10 million now?
oh, I think I'm close. I'm at 9.8, I think. Let me take a look real quick. My mom asked for my, she's like, what's your site again? I'm like, yeah, it doesn't matter. You don't want to watch golfing videos, so let it go. I don't
Yeah.
need, I don't
You're
need you. I've got 9,375 subscribers. And in 90 days, content views, content views, 6.6 million, 28 days. 90 days, I'm at 9.85 million.
man. So you basically need a couple 100,000.
Yeah, 200,000 to hit it. And I'm at 10.1 in a year, and I really only started in August. So I'm at 10.1 year to date since August and 90 days, 9.8. So I should hit it tomorrow or a day after. So then I'll be full fledged. How's the traveler's vacation area doing? And I like yours. I actually you show up in my thread now on the regular.
Nice.
So I make sure I thumbs up, comment, and I forward it each time they come. I'm trying to help you with that algorithm, buddy.
I appreciate it. It's interesting though. Thursday and Friday hit one of those walls again.
Yeah.
Um, I couldn't get a view. I'm up at 339 subscribers.
Okay.
Let's see what the let me go to my studio. Yeah,
379. So what is that? 50,000, 40,000 views? How many views?
I wish it was that. I'm total views. Well, let's go to that. View analytics. Like, see, the thing is that as a long form video, what I need is public views or public. So my shorts don't count towards that.
Right.
So my public watch hours are currently at 279 hours, which a week and a half ago they were at 95. So my YouTube things I wish I knew before I hiked Half Dome video is like 4,300 views currently.
Okay.
It's getting about 150 views a day.
How many subs did you get from that?
I've interestingly like 11.
Huh. That's weird because on my shorts, I think when I look at the average, I'm at 9,300 or 9,500 or whatever I said,
Yeah.
and about that million 9.8 million views. So it looks like 1,000 per million is what I'm getting. So that would be 100 per 100,000 viewing hours is what I'm getting, right?
Yeah,
A
yeah, something
thousand
like
per
that.
million, 100 per 100,000, or 10 per 10,000 every 10,000. So if you're getting that many views against that little viewing time, that's a really good ratio. Think about
Oh
that.
yeah, the that video, I'm retaining 66% of my audience for the entire 4.5 minutes.
That's good. Yeah.
Um, my newest video, so I just did the new Badlands one with Tara and I. So last week I did the one with Jake and my dad and I, and then this week I did, or Friday I did the one with Tara and I. And the difference is with I'm experimenting with different things too. So the one with my dad and Jake, I didn't overdub anything. It just play the video with some music and kind of show the because it's a road trip. I just kind of show the road trip.
Yeah, I watched that one. Yeah.
And then so this week I did it's the exact same trip, but it's with Tara, and I did it in the late spring rather than in late summer. And it's it's doing better overall. The other one was 7 minutes long, and I think I had like 40, 30 or 40%. It was closer to my normal retention for the entire time. So it's at 78 views. So it's not doing great. I was hoping that it might pick up like the Yosemite one did, because the Yosemite one didn't pick up until a week after I posted it. Like starting Monday, it started getting some views, like it started getting 100 views a day about. And then suddenly the Saturday and Sunday after it posted, I got 1,000 views in the weekend during one weekend.
Mm, right on.
And then it's since then it's basically been doing about 150 views per day. So I was hoping that the last one would do that, because I can see where it gets put in front of people. And so it has like an 8% click through, or at its best, it had an 8% click through rate when it was getting 1,000 views. And now I think it's around 6. The new video is around 2%, and it's only at 35 views, which is actually better than my Yosemite video did in its first weekend. So it's hard to say. Um, I just was looking at this. It looks like my Yosemite video finally got a thumbs down, because I'm at 97.8% likes. I have 90
Mm.
likes
Hmm.
and 34 comments on it too. I pretty much get a comment pretty regular almost every day.
You should do more videos with your wife, maybe doing yoga, and then I pretty much sure I pretty much guarantee that just
He's not all that graceful when it comes to that kind of stuff.
yoga is popular though. I'm just saying.
I don't think, yeah, I would be more likely to post one of me doing yoga.
Oh, well, yeah, good luck. Your
I am
retention
gonna
will be low.
when we go to the Everglades, um, I'm going to try some different things with the way I shoot the video and what I do. We're actually rented a convertible. Uh,
Okay.
that'll be fun. But uh, I'm going to try a few different things. I'm still not going to talk to the camera. But I'm going to try to capture myself being silly more.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, you're good at being silly.
yeah, I think that's a good selling point. I think I got a lot of that with you. I haven't actually gone through that footage at all yet. I've got to do that soon. Now that
Us
I'm almost
doing
through the
Badlands
Badlands.
at the campfire,
That
I think,
that's pretty good. That's going to be made a lot of shorts made out of that.
yeah, dude, we were laughing so freaking hard, so hard. Like, oh my Lord. It was such a flashback to like being in the tent in your backyard, just giggling maniacally and then having your parents be like, "All right, boys, go to sleep. It's enough." It just, dude, I literally hadn't laughed that hard probably in a year, maybe more, 2 years. I feel like no, I don't even know how long it was that I laughed that hard. My ribs hurt. Uh,
Interestingly, I was gonna say on my shorts view, I have 137,000 shorts views.
no, that's good.
So not that my channel's not going to survive off of shorts views anyways, but at least gets me some subscribers when my videos are in between videos and stuff.
Right, right.
So,
So, well, how many you got? 100? No, how many subs do you get off your short video?
um, depending on the short, anywhere from 3 to 15.
Okay.
Um, Early on in shorts, I was getting 14 to 15. Um, I started. I'm trying to, in the last few weeks, it's gone down a little bit, more like 3 or 4, but
Mhm.
the shorts are more supporting my videos rather than just being random memes, basically. I still post occasional memes, but I'm trying to take my own footage and turn it into stuff. Like,
There you go.
using the video of me with the camera in my mouth.
Yeah, that one made me laugh. I always love that one.
I wish I didn't realize it till afterwards, but doing that video 2 times speed is way funnier. And I'll give you don't even have to see it. It's not really the video that makes it that funny, but listen to this.
I don't hear it.
You don't hear it?
Mm-mm.
Oh, let me try it again. Let me get it closer to the mic. All right.
Still silent.
Wow, that's weird. The algorithm of Zoom is filtering out that noise. It knows it's not
Oh
somebody
yeah,
talking.
that's bizarre. But you
But
sound more squeaky and
yeah, it just sounds like a chipmunk and some of the. It's pretty funny. I was I might try to use it again at some point, double time.
it's wild. I'm looking at like one Tiger Woods and John Daly teeing off when were paired together. It's a 60-second video, 1.5 million views, 1,500 subscribers just off of one. And Tiger Woods 274 yards shot is 1.3 million with 1,200 subscribers. So that
Yeesh.
percentage is pretty interesting. Here's
Yeah,
another Tiger Woods, which is 769,000 with 808 subscribers. So it seems to be around 10%, right?
yeah.
10%. Here's 580,000 with 447. Yeah, so I get about 10% of my viewers subscribe. Yeah, it's almost precise. So that's pretty
The
consistent.
interesting thing to look at too is then look at returning viewers to see how many of your actual viewers are your subscribers, because that was what my friend was saying, is that only about 1,000 of his 450,000 subscribers are the ones that watch his videos every time.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see who's returning. My real-time views for the last 48 hours is 383,000 in the last 48 hours. I get about 10,000 views an hour.
Nice.
So last 60 minutes is 9,700. Let's see who's returning. Here's real-time reach. Was it under reach or engagement?
Engagement, I think that sounds right.
Audience retention is 71% on this one. 40 audience.
Oh, under audience, it just said I have, like, I show
Oh, here we go.
594 returning viewers, which is interesting that I have 594 returning viewers and uh 339 subscribers.
So this one, which is like 30,000 views, 2,300 are unique. Watch time from subscribers. Oh, it's only 5%.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
So I'm constantly hitting new people.
Yep.
That's wild. That
Yeah,
is
and
dumb.
The subscribers just give you an audience. It
Yeah,
guarantees that you're going to be put in front of people as long as you're consistent with uploading stuff.
right, right. Other people like you, they
And
put you in front of more people. Other
right,
people
and
like
that and I
you. I've got
feel
like
like I've
two.
seen that.
I've got like two remixes too. Well, that's why when I get yours, I like, subscribe, and forward. I share
Yeah. I
because
need to put more like subscribe stuff in my shorts.
yeah,
I don't
I don't ever ask for likes or subscribes. But recently I had to go back and track. I did 3 or 4 like where I did 50% in a day where I put like, subscribe for more content in the comment field, in the content, like the cat, whatever, what is that called?
the description.
The description. I put like and subscribe for more content, and then like Tiger and Charlie Woods 2023 PNC championship, like underneath hashtag Tiger Woods. Um, but yeah, I don't know if that, yeah, I don't know if that's gonna make a difference or not. I do start paying attention to people who have shorts who then I can see they have pop-ups for merchandise.
Yeah, because you're capable of
And
doing that.
yeah, I'm almost there, right?
No, you're there for that.
Oh, I can start doing that. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that was the halfway point where you can do a shop and you can do different things like that.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, I need to start doing some branding work around non-toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
Non-toxic masculinity nail polish for men. I'm just kidding. Uh, I'm masculine and I'm non-toxic, non-toxic for the most part.
For the most part.
For the most part. But yeah, I saw somebody and I was like, I saw the click-through link on a short, and I'm like, oh, let me click through and see what it is. And then selling some t-shirts seemed to have nothing to do with the content that I just saw, but it didn't matter. I thought the t-shirts were kind of cool, and I thought about buying one. So I'm like, oh, so I'm worried about branding, merchandise branding specific to that. But the truth is, I mean, anything golf related at this point, because I've got 10 million golf video views, anything golf related at all doesn't have to be non-toxic masculinity related, just cool, like cool dad golf shirts or something, with,
Yeah.
quirky sayings. Maybe I'll have to check out Chat GPT and get some ideas for some golf puns, or, golfers like to whatever, get a hole in one, make something dirty or sarcastic. I don't know. Stop playing with your putter. You're gonna go blind. There
Yeah,
you go.
I actually it's funny. I have a t-shirt shop that I created a bunch of stuff during COVID. I got to find where it's at. I got to find so I can pull some of the t-shirts that I created for that because I have one that I really liked that was has the trailblaze for you would see while you're hiking, and it just says trailblazer. I, I thought that was the kind of thing that I mean I wanted that shirt.
Right, right. Yeah, I was just thinking, like, I wonder, like, I've looked at doing affiliate marketing. I've done affiliate marketing and I had some people buy stuff, um, by buying ads on different sort of, click per play and click to call, click, different digital marketing channels. It's all about finding the right channel. But now I understand why Matt Dixon would bring it to my attention. He's like, you understand, like, you're driving an audience. When you have an audience, you can make a living selling to your audience. And I'm like, what? And now that I have like 10,000 people, and I'm like, that it's not that I only have 10,000 people to sell to. It's exactly what you said. 95% of my views are new. And I get a weekly update. It says I got in front of 782,000 viewers. I've got put in front of almost a million viewers. So if a million viewers are seeing my stuff, they don't have to subscribe to buy something. They see the stuff. 10% of them click through and 1% buys. All of a sudden, a $10 bonus or profit piece of merchandise is worth $10,000 a week.
Yeah,
That's where, and I'm like, oh,
yeah.
that's
You could basically you could. I mean, you got a great job and income. You could double your income still.
just by
Uh,
selling to a million
well,
views.
just yeah, with YouTube and your yeah your views you get every day, and
Yeah,
then once you hit that in like in a week at the most, or the next few days,
yeah,
you'll have enough subscribers or enough hours and views. And between that and the affiliate links,
yeah.
yeah,
That's pretty wild. That's pretty wild. I never thought about it like that.
yeah. With me, I'm trying to replace mine and just go
Yeah.
out there and travel all the time. But
I don't get me wrong. If I could, make six figures posting videos, I don't have any problem walking away from a six-figure job. So uh, doing whatever the F I want for the rest of my life and posting videos about it. And I think the trick is like once you get the hang of it, like it doesn't matter how many videos I watched on it. It's like once you start to understand the rhythm of things and you start to understand what the audience is looking for,
well,
and
and
you
you find and
it
that
took me
audience finds you. That's all about the
took
people
me
who want to see that content finding you.
right, and it took me 3 months, 4 months, probably well three, well yeah, 3 months. I took a month off because I was mad. Like I thought I had it, and then I didn't have it, and then I found it on accident after I stopped trying. But it's like that lesson is more valuable than anything because it didn't. Somebody can explain the logic to you, but here's the truth of what the stuff that you hear from content creators is: always create content.
Yeah,
Just continue to create content no matter what. Don't stop creating content. Eventually, the audience will find you, and then you'll find your people. Don't stop. And I spent a lot of time either not caring at all about the quality of the content, just wanting to hang out with friends, and didn't give a shit, or trying too hard to make the content into something that I imagined that people wanted, as opposed to just put stuff out and just be consistent and be surprised what you can do. It's a field of dreams, baby.
yeah,
If you build it, they will come. I tell you
yep.
what, if I
And
start making fuck, if I start making two figures off of this, I'm gonna tell everybody, like, there's a way.
yeah, and I've got 3 years before I want this thing to be self-sustaining completely, like where I'm making lots of money and being able to travel all the time. So I've got plenty of time to build it up. And now that I'm planning only one trip a month for the next year. So the cost keeps the cost down.
Hmm.
Um, or one trip per month. Did I say one per trip per year? Yeah, I
One
know
trip
it's
per
one
month,
trip per month for the
one per
next
month for
year.
the next year. Yeah,
Yeah. So, that'll in doing the camping also as often as I can, because I'm going to do some camping videos, because there's plenty of the expert campers out there, the hikers and stuff like that. But I'm the average guy approach thing. You don't have to have the $1,000 tent
right,
that weighs uh less than a pound.
right, right. You don't have to have the 9 ounce tent that costs $700.
Yeah, that
It's
uses your
made it's
trekking poles to.
it's made from the silk of the rare whatever. Okay, sure. It's made from space worm silk. You get it from space. Mm, awesome. I know you're not making the and we had a discussion about I was giving you ideas like, hey, how about a fat piece of shit like me who had no money and was almost dead, and then I went out there and I didn't die. You're like, it's not exactly the audience I'm looking for. I love that so much. I was like, oh, that's fair. I'm like, I'm not gonna argue with you. It was it was a little I stung for a second, and I'm like, yeah, why would that be the audience that you're looking for? I didn't pitch that well at all. Somewhere above fat piece of shit who almost died and didn't die this time. Like we want a little more nuance than that. But I appreciate you going on vacation with me. Thanks for not dying, Jeffrey. You're welcome.
I did appreciate you not dying. That
Yeah, me
would have
too.
really ruined that video.
That would have sucked. There would have been like all this laughing at the campfire and then funeral. You're like, well,
It's like an episode of Scrubs right there. It
Probably go
got you
viral.
laughing, 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 then hits you in the feels at the end.
Yeah, and you're dropping a rose on top of my casket. Like, well, we made it 42 years, buddy. That's it. That's it. You're done. No. I mean, I'm in good shape, good health currently, so still keeping up on that. Trying to make good choices and keep going. So I'll be the comeback king.
Yeah, and so
I like a
Geoff
challenge.
responded, but you didn't respond on whether or not you wanted to do Death Valley in February.
February seems reasonable, like temperature wise.
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah, I know the desert during February is nice.
And
Uh,
yeah, any other pretty much most of the time of the year you don't want to go to
the hottest place on earth. Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah. But me being from the desert, I have an advantage. If
You do
there's
have that.
altitude, if there's altitude and lack of humidity, like I'm in, dude. I can handle that. But what's the? I didn't see that, so I wasn't paying close attention. But well,
It's I
what's
don't
the
have
trip?
dates yet, but other than I'm thinking after Valentine's Day.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'll say I'm tentatively in. Barring details and a little bit of planning. I said, yeah, why not? Sounds great to me.
Yeah,
I could
and
probably
one of the
make it.
videos too was going to be finding some of the Star Wars shooting locations too.
Oh, nice. Yeah. But yeah, I can probably spend that time and make it out to see my girl, see my mother, go to Death Valley. I can probably, work in between. Yeah, I could probably make that a 3-week trip. That'd be fun. Give me 20 seconds. Oh, I saw the movie Saltburn today. Saltburn. Um, it's like it's like a dark thriller about like bougie rich people and it's like Oxford College rich kids and it's kind of like Talented Mr. Ripley uh with some debauchery and wealth. It's pretty good. I liked it. Um uh I start to get for some reason this time of year makes me sad. So I try and do things to distract myself that aren't doing drugs and drinking. So I go into the movies. So
Movies
I
are
got
always
this.
been my thing.
I got this in the mail. I'm guessing it's from Matthew Dixon, Nature's Dicks.
It's from me.
Oh, is this from you?
Yeah, that's why I
Oh,
asked for your address.
oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad because this is literally what I said. I said I feel like this would be from Matthew over Daniel, but maybe Daniel had the courage to do such a thing.
I sent Geoff
That's the best.
Nature's Butts.
Oh, that's amazing. So thank you, my friend. I wasn't sure if
The title was a little much, but the
yeah,
pictures weren't.
yeah.
Pictures are funny.
I appreciate this. Just came in the mail today. So each month it has a different stone edifice that looks like a penis. So I will put this right here on the wall next to my photo albums, or not my photo albums, my LPs that are on the wall. So I love it. Thank you very much. That's awesome. Now it makes sense. Yeah, and it's funny.
Yeah,
I told Rebecca that I was like, "Well, I think See, I feel like Daniel, but I feel like Matthew would do this over Daniel, but I don't think Matthew knows my birthday. But I missed a call from him the other day, so maybe. And then she's like, "That would be amazing if it was Daniel." I'm like, "I know, right?" I feel like he would totally be like, "It's worth it."
And I like it was basically a Christmas present. I
Yeah,
because I sent one to Geoff as well. So
yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
yeah,
I appreciate it.
birthday. We do need to like have like a special get together on Zoom this week for your birthday.
Yeah, yeah. Talk to Geoff. See.
See if you
I'm
can get
open.
it free.
Yeah, I'm working, just living normal life. So I'll be happy to
Me
get
too.
together.
And this is gonna. I love the week before Christmas at my job. I have nothing to do.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna wear my Christmas sweaters, my ugly Christmas sweaters, and I'm just going to enjoy my time at work.
Well, so my CC, my computer career, they give everyone gets a week off at Christmas. You have to split it either the week before Christmas or the week after Christmas. You got to pick it. You have a birthday holiday that you need to use, and then they give you 4 extra vacation days after your already 2 weeks of PTO that you get anyways. And every major holiday we observe, they give you an extra week on top of that. So it's a good uh, it's a Christian organization, so I appreciate them for that. Um, I didn't know what to do with myself last year because I've never even had Christmas Day off in years. So a whole week. So I was like, do I want the week before or after Christmas? And I had to think like, I think the executives are gonna most of the executive staff is gonna be off the week before Christmas. So I took the week after Christmas. So it'll be like you,
2 weeks.
it's gonna be a chill week, and then I'll be gone
Yep.
until the new year. So
Yeah,
that'll be
basically the HCA executives I think are gone pretty much the rest of the year. Their
yeah.
last big meeting was last week. I saw it drop off at the end of last on Friday. It was already empty.
Yeah, people were doing their annual KPI presentations and whatnot on Thursday.
I think there is an important meeting happening tomorrow morning. Not I'm not responsible for it. It actually it's actually it's just it's happening in the room where my office overlooks the room. So they often ask us to babysit it, but I always have the other guy babysit it because I don't want to babysit it.
Yeah,
The things that if something goes wrong in the room in the meeting, there's really nothing I can do. It's going to be a WebEx thing. It's not going to be the AV. And if it's
right.
the AV, yeah,
It's dead.
it's gonna be
Yeah,
dead.
yeah, yeah. He broke it. Oh, it's funny because they were doing the presentations on campus in Raleigh. They're in North Carolina. I mean, we have several campuses, but North Carolina is the headquarters. And somebody new, a new director sent something to like IT, and then they put me on it. Like they thought I was the AV guy. So they're like, "Hey, we're not getting any sound out of this conference room or whatever." And I thought of you immediately. And I was like, I saw that IT was on there, so I knew that they would take care of it anyways. I want to be like, yeah, I don't want to have to say I'm not that guy. But at the same time, I was like, hey, I'm not that guy. I'm not actually, yeah, I handle the phone systems for all the other things. If you don't have sound, that's an IT issue. So,
Well, and it's that's what always cracks me up because people call us IT all the time, and I get
yep.
called for computer issues. I get called for phone issues.
Mhm.
Even I got called for an iPad issue not too long. Well, to be fair, that person actually said, "Hey, do you know who I is it you or does someone else? Who do I contact for this iPad issue?" I'm like, "Yeah, that won't be me."
Yeah,
And I told him who it was. I always try to tell the younger kid that works with me. I'm like, you know, I know that you want to please these people,
right,
but what you have to do is you can get them to the right person. You
right,
take responsibility for getting them to the right person, but not
right,
responsibility for the actual project or the issue that they're
right.
having.
Correct.
Because otherwise, then they assume that we're responsible, and when it doesn't work, they're going to call us and be mad
Right,
when we can't fix it.
right. Exactly. Yep. That was that lesson took me. I was used to being, my last company, I was like all the things all the time, including, even though I wasn't IT, IT was sick when we evacuated the building for COVID, and I did every computer, and I was the trainer at the time. I was the trainer, but I have enough skill set across all facets of things
Well,
that
that's the
it just,
problem.
It just fell on me. So yeah,
Well, did
I
it
learned
fall on
that.
you or you jumped into it because you saw a need and that's how who you are?
Well, there was a need and I jumped into it because I wanted to
Yeah.
please. Right. I wanted to please. Well, then becoming a specialist now, I realized just to keep within my specialty. Now, if I'm troubleshooting something with somebody and then maybe Chrome needs to be updated
Right.
or there's some ancillary things
There
that are
there are
like
gray areas.
that are going to help. Like, oh, your pop-ups aren't working on this. Let's go into settings and let's change that. Like there's ancillary things that are going to help. I'm not going to push it off on IT, but I'll let them know, hey, look, I'm not IT, but I know some things. So like, let's try these three things. If I can get it to work, and then we're good. But if we stop at that point, I'll open a case we'll open a case for IT and they're going to have to come in and fix the other piece. And they're like, okay, I make sure they understand like, technically, I'm
Yeah.
just the phone guy. I'm voice systems only. Well,
Yeah.
text channel to SMS and chat, but you know,
Cisco
I'm I'm
Cisco has
omni-channel.
this thing called proximity, and it's a supersonic or hypersonic sound playing in the room that our ears can't hear, but the mics in our computer listen for and communicates that. Then the computer tells the system, hey, I'm in here. And it's like, and so the system's like, all right, we can talk, and you can log into join the system or join a call from your computer using that. Well, the older computers, these older HPs had a microphone enhancement that was great for voice, but it filtered out that high frequency and
Mm,
wouldn't. And so, like you said, that's a gray area. I don't do computer settings. However, I know that computer settings with my gear. So
right, right. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna make sure I don't bite off more than I can chew. And I also learned that even if I think it's a 10-minute job, let me look into it and I'll get back to you and we'll figure out the time frame. And then because I can look at something and think it's a 10-minute job and it might be, but then other things then pop in that become more important at that point. And then, by the end of my 10 minutes, I've got four things now going on and then I have to prioritize them. I might be open for the rest of the day until I'm not, and so I had to learn to be like, okay, don't over, un, what is it? Under
under
promise,
promise and
over
over
delivery.
delivery. Yep.
Exactly. Exactly. But always service with a smile, always helpful. Try to I explain things to people as much as I can. Like people will be like, "Hey, such and such happened. Can you try not to explain it in like in whatever. Try to explain it for we people who don't understand anything. Or I don't need an explanation. Can you just fix it?" I'm like, "Yeah, no problem." No, but oftentimes if there's things that are caused by people, then I'm like, okay, here was the issue, but here's how people play into this outcome also. Here's what I need you to do differently in order to make sure this doesn't reoccur. And they're like, that's confusing. What did you mean? I'm like, tell people to click on this button. Okay, cool. Have them click that button. Things will work better. Okay. Yeah. I have a habit of thinking out loud. Obviously, that's why I like to talk. So
True.
thinking out loud when you're doing tech work is not scares other people. So
Well, on that note,
on that note, shall
I
we
will see you on your birthday.
yeah, sounds good. All right, we'll be in touch. Yeah. So this is Atomic Dork Duo for Sci-Fi Dan. I'm Jeffrey with the G. Y'all peace out and say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie.